Hello, welcome back to the channel. By the time I updated you what was going on with the van. So yeah, where did I start? Okay, so it's been a couple of months. I think the last video we were replacing the dashboard and the hinges of the door were done, the wings were done, and the van was ready to go off for paint. As you may see in the background, the van went off for paint. It's come back. There's been a lot of other stuff going on, so just to give you, I suppose, a glimpse, there's been a wee bit of this. More than a bit of this. A bit of this. And numerous moments of this. We're not going to talk about that anymore. Just going to pretend like it didn't happen and it went smoothly. Now, with all of that said, building the van's been fantastic. I'll be completely honest, I filmed bits and pieces throughout, but nothing really just came into a video. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out on YouTube about how to do these things, you know, how to carpet line, how to ply line, how to fit suspension, how to put on wheels. Hopefully that should be a fairly straightforward one for most people, but rather than do a whole series of videos of this is how this was done, that was done, I actually enjoyed the process of building the van, which was great. And really this video is just the, I suppose, completion of the series to show you how the van's ended up, and I want to talk a bit about the reasons for why I did various things and how I built it the way I did. Also, it's going to be the last we see of the van, so I took a deposit for it today, which means the van will be no more, which is a bit sad. I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the process, really enjoyed building it, but it does mean that there's no room in the drive for another project. So, without further ado, this is the finished van. So here we are in the back of the van. Hopefully the sound's okay actually. Never really thought about that, but it started to rain outside, so it's about the only option. I think the van came out great. Let me explain to you the decisions and how it was built, and really fill the gap between this video and the last video and what has went on in between. So let's start with the paint. This was always going to be a budget project, and for those of you who have had stuff painted or resprayed, paintwork or good paintwork is not cheap. I know that from this thing. And also, this is a van. It's built to be used. It was never intended to be a show van or something that would get polished every weekend. I really wanted to build it with the ethos of throw your stuff in the back of it, use it, you know, whether it's mountain bikes or car parts or whatever. Like that's how it was designed to be built. So I actually took some inspiration from the US, where there's quite a few people doing this out there and painting the outside of their pickup trucks with Raptor liner. Now Raptor liner is picking up momentum in the UK, really is an underbody coat. It's tintable. You can get it in black, but it also comes in tintable as well. And I sort of drew all of those lines in my head together and went, that could be the solution. The other benefit is that there's not the overhead in terms of painting it, so it's not a case of, you know, priming stuff, painting it, letting it bake, lacquering, whatever the actual painting process is. I'm not 100% on that, but you know, you basically rub it down with 180 grit and then lash it on with a shoots gun. It does leave a textured finish, and part of the textured finish actually gives some protection, so it's scratch proof. It provides a sort of rust preventative coat as well, which is great on any Volkswagen really. Now a bit Marmite, it'll be to some people's tastes, other people will hate it. I think it's pretty cool, and we chose to go with the Nardo grey colour just because it's It's actually, I very nearly painted the Mark 1 Nardo Grey, and then decided to veer more towards originality on that. So this allowed me to scratch the Nardo Grey itch. So that's the paint. Really, really happy with how it came out. The texture is noticeable when you're up close, but from 6 foot away, you probably wouldn't notice it. Super happy with that. Also went into a whole load of detail as well. So the van was stripped down. You can see, maybe you can't see actually, there. Yeah, it's maybe a bit blown out, but you know, the insides of the doors were done, the door shuts were done. It was done properly. What I didn't want was a van that was Nardo Grey Raptor liner on the outside and like still white on the inside. That would have annoyed my OCD. So there we have it. So van got painted, it then got lowered. Now, the lowering, as with everything or anything you do, anything I tend to do, I don't know, does anyone else feel this? Like, no matter what they tend to do with their car, their van, it just fights them. The suspension did the same thing. Ended up with the blowtorch trying to take track rod ends after bolt sheared. To be honest, that was where I lost the momentum in doing the video, because I was that irritated by the fact every bolt I looked at sheared or snapped or just rounded itself. It was just a pig of a job. But we got there in the end, silver lining. And yeah, so as part of that, we put the Pro Sport coilovers in the front, flipped the axle at the back, and I put in new top mounts and drop links, track rod ends, ball joints I went in as well. There's a lot of new parts went in underneath, but again, tried to set it at a sensible height. It could go significantly lower on the rear, it could go significantly lower at the front, but to be honest, again, keep that in mind. Trying to build this as a practical van, still wanted it to be usable as a van, carry a bit of weight. I think the balance is quite nice between practicality and looks. I'd love to know what you think. But in saying that, there's nothing that really can be done now. It's sold. So more than me, one more person liked it other than me because they bought it, which is great. Third thing then, the wheels. Controversial opinion here. A lot of people will say 17-inch wheels are too small for a Caddy. They look lost in the arch. Insert here, whatever statement people say. I disagree. I just disagree. I think 17s in certain scenarios can look well. I wouldn't have them on a show van. I understand 18s and 19s fill the arches, and if you want to really sit the van over the wheels, that's the way to go. But it's not the way I want to go. I wanted a decent chunky tyre. Again, let's keep it comfortable, keep it usable, but have with the looks of the alloys and have it sitting quite nicely. So genuine BBS wheels. I think they're off an A3. I think. I'm not too hot on them. They're on a Mark 5 Golf GTI. Saw them come up for sale second hand and thought, yep, this is the wheels for the van. So really happy with how they came out. Again, fitting with the budget build, they were really affordable. Great tires on them. I think they suit it. Again, I'd love to hear what your views are. And the final piece of the puzzle was the carpet lining and insulation. So all of the single skin panels were insulated underneath, and then I carpeted over the top of it. First time doing this, it was more difficult than it looked, but definitely something that with a bit of patience is absolutely achievable. So enjoyed it. Makes it a far nicer van to be in terms of warmth and comfort. You know, you normally get into a van and it's freezing cold and there's, you know, a condensation-y feel and the echoey kind of drum when you're driving down the road. That's not the case. Helped also by the floor. So the floor literally has a plank of wood over the top of it and then some yoga mats. So that's my top tip. Really, really cheap to do, but it makes it really nice to sit on, which I'm benefiting from totally now, which is great. So there you have it. That is the end of the van build. I must say I'm super happy with how it's come out. Really, really enjoyed the process of building it from what it was to what it is now. You know, shout out to anyone who's helped with advice along the way or pointed me in the right direction, and all of the numerous resources on YouTube that I've used have been excellent, especially, you know, the carpet lining and the door hinge, although I still don't want to talk about that. And most of all, it's been great to bring you guys along in the journey. Thank you for all of the support. You know, the first series really has helped to kick off the YouTube channel. So thank each and every one of you for watching, for commenting, for engaging. It's been great, and the messages in social media as well. People just reaching out and taking interest in it. So thank you. I really do mean that. And now let's start thinking about the next one. So on that cliffhanger, we'll leave it there. I'm not sure what is coming next. Nothing really lined up at the moment. I should probably finish the Mark 1, but I imagine something else will probably creep into the driveway fairly soon. Until that point, look after yourself. Speak to you soon.